Van Weren welcoming you to Portland. A great rivalry between these two clubs. The Philadelphia 76ers have really dominated in the season series, but a very important game for Portland tonight because the game you just saw with Dallas losing, if Portland can win this game tonight, they'll be back in a tie for that final spot in the battle in the Western Conference for a playoff spot. And Steve, this Philadelphia 76er team has really owned Portland despite that exciting win the Blazers had here last year. 8 of the last 9 times these teams have met, Philadelphia has walked away the winner, and 4 of the last time 5's in this building, and mostly because of one man.
Well, you know, America knows a little bit about Cookie Monster, the Trailblazers. They met him up close and personal. It's been Charles Barkley. Barkley has personally dined on the Trailblazers in every kind of way that you can imagine. You look at the numbers, almost 35 points a game, 19 rebounds. He has just been a one-man wrecking crew, and Portland will have to try to figure out a way to slow his roll.
Now, when you talk about containing a Charles Barkley, you never really completely shut down a player with that kind of ability. Numerically, what would be a good job by Portland against a Charles Barkley?
Well, if I were the guy that had the job, I'd say, Coach, if I can hold him down to 20 and maybe get him down to 8 or 9 rebounds, would you be happy? Because I would.
I think most people in the league would. They didn't do it last time. The last time these two teams met in Philadelphia, Barkley had 41 points and 22 rebounds. But Portland playing a little bit different basketball right now than they were earlier when all the turmoil was going on. They've won their last 3 games in a row, a win on the road last night against the Clippers, and basically 2 men have been the keys behind the last 3 victories for the Blazers.
Well, it's been Clyde Drexler and Terry Porter. Both of them have been key for them all year long, but they're now playing like they were a year ago when many thought they might be the best backcourt in the league.
There's been some injury problems in the backcourt. Terry Porter's had to play an awful lot of minutes lately, 44 minutes in last night's game. Might he be getting a little tired playing so much?
Nah, Pete, you know, young guys are supposed to be able to go back-to-back. What they'll try to do tonight is spot him a little bit more, but you can expect that he'll play a prominent role in what they have to do.
One player not available for the Blazers tonight will be Sam Bowie. He just gets back after all of those leg problems. Now he's sidelined with the flu, and he's gone back home. Should be an exciting ball game. These two teams have a way of making that kind of a game happen. The Blazers taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Right now, back to Craig Sager in Atlanta.
Thanks, Pete and Steve. The New York Knicks have the night off, but they have lost Mark Jackson to a knee injury. He has been placed on the injured list with torn cartilage in his right knee. A further examination would be needed to determine if he needs surgery or if the injured knee will heal with rest. Jackson complained of the injury after last night's victory over Miami. Rick Mahorn is paying the price for an elbow he threw Tuesday night against Mark Price of the Cleveland Cavs. Mahorn was fined $5,000 by NBA Vice President Ryan Thorne, who said he is tired of Mahorn causing trouble. Price has missed the last 2 games, including tonight's loss in Detroit. Now, at this point, Chuck Daly is out of the game. He had 2 technicals, but that seemed to spark the team because Vinnie Johnson comes the other way and breaks a tie with an off-balance jumper. The Cavs came back the other end. This one went down to the wire. Ron Harper, after getting the pass out front by Elo, hit the long shot. But the trade for Mark Aguirre appears to be paying dividends because Aguirre had another good game for Detroit, 22 points. And Detroit pulls it out in the end, 96-90. The Atlanta Hawks had no trouble at all beating Charlotte. Mike Fratello will join us at halftime. Utah went to Miami and avenged a loss there that they had earlier this year. Milwaukee took a lead in the 4th quarter for the first time this year, but Chicago has come back to go up by 5. Houston on top of Seattle going into the 2nd quarter by 3. Later tonight, it's Indiana taking on the Lakers. And in the first half of our doubleheader, it was Boston winning by 1. Dallas has never won in the Boston Garden. Coming up next, Game 2, Philadelphia at Portland.
And we're just about set to get it underway here at Memorial Coliseum in Portland. Let's take a look at the starting lineups tonight. First for the 76ers, who come in with a record of 31-24. They're on their longest road trip of the year. It's an 8-game trip altogether. This is Game 7. They've won 3 and lost 3 so far. And there's the way they'll line up with Charles Barkley, Shelton Jones, and Mike Jaminski, joined by the rookie Hersey Hawkins and Mo Cheeks in the backcourt. Barkley, of course, the key man in just about every game the Philadelphia 76ers play. And there's Jimmy Lynam in his 2nd year now as head coach of the 76ers, his 4th year overall as a head coach in the league. And they've played .500 ball now under Lynam as a head coach. For Portland, Jerome Kersey, Caldwell Jones, and Kevin Duckworth up front. Clyde Drexler and Terry Porter will be getting a lot of minutes in that backcourt tonight for the Blazers. Jerry Sichting, Danny Young, both injured. So a couple of CBAers, Brooks Steppe and Clinton Wheeler, have come over to try to shore up the team of Rick Adelman, who is in just his 8th game as head coach of the Trailblazers. They lost their first 4 under Rick Steve, and they came back and have won their last 3.
Well, they bounced back. I think that it was a tough road trip for them to go out and play Chicago, Cleveland, and Detroit, and expected they'd get much business done under the best circumstances, and under the circumstances they went out, you couldn't expect much. But you looked at those starting lineups. Both teams have an obvious weak link, and that's at the forward position. Shelton Jones, Caldwell Jones, both of them are not expected to score big, so those are going to be the people you'll see help on the other players at the defensive end.
Our officials tonight, Jess Kersey, Ed F. Rush, and Jim Huter. And we're set to get underway. A sold-out crowd, as always, here at the Memorial Coliseum in Portland. Blazers, remember, with a win here tonight, would be tied with Dallas for the number 8 spot in the Western Conference. It's been a 3-team battle for the last 2 spots in the West between Denver, Dallas, and Portland. And Portland with a little momentum right now, and Dallas the team at the moment that's struggling. And here we go from the Coliseum. The Blazers will have a chance to get on the board first. Terry Porter will have Mo Cheeks, one of the best defenders at that position, but Porter got away from him and hits that jumper.
If you remember the game we did against Phoenix and he got out of the box quickly, that helped the Trailblazers at the offensive end, so he may really be a catalyst in what Portland does tonight.
Barkley sends it out to Cheeks. It comes over to Jaminski. His baseline jumper goes, and we're tied at 2. Jaminski having a good year, averaging 17 points and nearly 10 rebounds a game. Duckworth over Jaminski. Rolls around several times before going for Kevin Duckworth. And the Blazers have a 4-2 lead. Barkley will try a 3-pointer. That wouldn't go for him. Kersey the rebound, and the Blazers can open up a 4-point lead here. Barkley coming off a sensational game against Sacramento on this road trip where he had a triple-double. Porter tried another one. That one wouldn't go for him. Jones came up with a rebound, got poked in the eye. It dislodged his glasses for a moment, but he's able to maintain control and get it over to Mo Cheeks. Cheeks now in his 11th year with the Sixers.
Now, to watch for Portland, what you really want to see is their defensive aggressiveness. If they're out and they're forcing Philadelphia away from what they'd like to do, not allowing them to move the ball freely, you know they got a chance to be disruptive. In that series, they were able to make 4 or 5 simple passes. Hawkins over the top.
Hawkins with his first 2 of the night to tie the score at 4. Drexler puts up the shot. It won't go for him, but he will go to the foul line. Percy Hawkins, the rookie from Bradley, committing his first.
One of the ways you can get rid of a big offensive threat is to make him play someone at the other end. And Hawkins certainly has the ability to be a problem for Portland. If he's got the assignment against Drexler, you put that defensive pressure on him, he could be sitting down.
Drexler hits 1 of 2. Portland up by 1. Philadelphia trying to grab the lead now for the first time. About 10-20 remaining in this opening quarter. Jaminski will put it up again and hit another one. He's hit his first 2 efforts, and the Sixers have a 1-point lead early.
Just like a big man. He was supposed to be setting the screen, ended up stealing the ball, gets the shot.
Porter with Cheeks right on him. That should be a great matchup tonight, Porter and Cheeks. Drexler is going to be called for the foul offensively this time. And the ball goes back to Philadelphia.
The arm went out. He got the hook. He was being pushed, but at the same time, he hooked him, and his was more obvious, and the whistle goes in favor of the 76ers.
Cheeks over to Hersey Hawkins. Hawkins, a great 3-point shooter. He's ranked 5th in the league. Hawkins to Barkley.
He asked for a clear out in that situation, but then tried to go over the top. Barkley
has missed his first 2 efforts of the night. The ball rolling free, and finally coming up with it, Kevin Duckworth. Crowd liking what they're seeing right now, but they won't like that. Drexler had it, lost it. The ball's still loose. Who will it belong to? It'll belong to Portland. Rick Adelman.
Oh, wait, no. Linham's over there saying Kersey. Well, you know, the ref's name's Kersey. Any guy who's got the same last name is going to get a break tonight.
Porter.
How many Kerseys in the world are there?
That's good. That's good. Big, Michael, big. Good, Charlie.
Porter, nice pass to Duckworth. Duckworth puts the baseline jumper in. Kevin Duckworth with 4 quick points in this first quarter. Philadelphia unable to find a hot hand at the moment. Drexler the other way to Kersey. Kersey missed the layup. Jaminski the rebound to Jones. Jones has Caldwell Jones to beat. Gets it over to Hersey Hawkins, and Caldwell Jones blocked it. Barkley follows, and although he couldn't get the shot away, he will go to the free throw line. Great block there by Caldwell Jones.
Well, that's not the kind of pace that Philadelphia would like, up and down, but the rookie learned that the old man still has a little something in him. One of the best shot blockers around for years, Caldwell Jones, makes a great reaction, but the ball comes right back to Barkley, fouled on the way up by Caldwell Jones.
Barkley, who's among the league leaders in so many categories, 8th in the league in scoring, 3rd in the league in rebounding, 2nd in the league in field goal percentage. And he has his first point of the night.
You know, and as it goes, they said early in his career he was going to have a weight problem. He'd have to be concerned about that. Yeah, the weight is he has to carry all of his team.
He is some kind of player. We are tied at 7. Barkley hitting 1 of 2. Porter working against Cheeks. Again, he gets away from him, takes the ball through the lane, dishing off to Caldwell Jones at travel.
They did everything right but finished the play. He got the pass right to the Caldwell, but Gminski made him take that extra step. Turnover.
So now Cheeks will bring the ball down for Philadelphia as they try to regain the lead. Barkley has Caldwell Jones on him. Coming over to help out.
They show double, and Barkley is looking around to find the open man. 5 on the shot clock.
Cheeks, 4-3, wouldn't go, comes right back to him, but he lost it. Good play there by Kersey. Kersey to Duckworth. Duckworth goes around Jones, came up a little short. Rebound goes off of Portland. The ball belongs to Philadelphia. Cheeks launching one down to Jaminski, and Jaminski traveled.
Same play at the other end. He got to the basket, but the defender forced him to try to get himself together, taking those little baby steps. Turnover.
So Terry Porter brings the ball down for Portland. Tied at 7, 7:50 remaining in this first quarter.
Now where you take it, Hawk? Bump. Good, no front. Good, Michael, see it now, Mike. Go, Michael, double.
Duckworth to Drexler out to Kersey. Kersey feeding Caldwell Jones underneath, and his short jumper goes. Caldwell Jones not known for his offense, but he gets that basket to fall for him, and it's a 2-point Trailblazer lead. Shelton Jones down to Barkley.
Well, every time Barkley touches it, they're trying to double up on him. Spins his way in. Again, gets the foul.
That time it was Caldwell Jones, joined by Jerome Kersey, as they tried to double up on Barkley, and Kersey is called for his first.
Well, one of the things that makes it so tough to double team Barkley is his ability to put the ball on the floor, plus that ability to hang and create something. And he gets the contact. And, you know, when Barkley has big nights against Portland, he gets a lot of free throw opportunities.
And we'll repeat, the first time these two teams met was back in November in Philadelphia. The Sixers won that game, 114-106. And that man, Charles Barkley, 41 points and 22 rebounds in that contest. He has 3 points in this game. We're tied at 9. And a bad pass on the Blazers, picked off by Hersey Hawkins. Hawkins trying to feed Shelton Jones. Kersey with a great steal. Off to Porter. Porter puts it up over Hawkins and hits. Terry Porter has 4. And the Blazers up by 2.
Well, we've seen some great defensive reactions by both teams here, so that means at least there's good ball awareness of where the personnel is out on the floor.
Barkley takes the long shot over Jones. He has not been able to hit a field goal yet in this game. Comes outside to Drexler. Drexler pops one from about 20 feet, and Duckworth finishes it. Kevin Duckworth has 6, and the Blazers lead by 4. Cheeks to the front court, guarded by Porter. Jaminski has had a good touch for the Sixers early, but that one wouldn't go for him. Blazers doing a good job on the boards. Philadelphia getting only one opportunity on most of their shots. Porter goes up against Jaminski. Basket's good. Jaminski fouls him. Chance for a 3-point play for Terry Porter.
It's called basketball, and at the same time, you take what the defense gives you. They gave him penetration, and now it's a chance for a three-point play.
A timeout with 6:08 to go in the opening quarter, and Portland leading by 6.
Full of offensive rebounding is to know who's shooting the ball, so you have a chance at least to give your team a second opportunity. Drexler's there from the side, and you'll watch Kevin Duckworth position himself and then just drive it home, and that had the crowd on its feet. But probably more exciting was the play by Terry Porter. And watch, the defense doesn't come to him, and by then it's too late. He's right at the big man, Mike Gminski, and a chance for the three-point play. I'd be crying too.
Terry Porter had a season-high 34 points in Tuesday night's game here, which was won by the Blazers over the Phoenix Suns, 139-134. A very fast-paced game against Phoenix.
And Pete, if there's a difference in Terry Porter from playing under Mike Schuler and playing under Rick Adelman, it is he is allowed to try to do more things. He doesn't feel that he has to look for the play to call. He just comes down and tries to make something happen, and his game has picked up with it.
Porter in his 4th year in the league out of a tiny school, Wisconsin at Stevens Point. Missing the free throw, Gminski pulls away the rebound. 15-9. Portland up by 6. We're at the midway point of the first quarter. Barkley 0 for 3 from the field so far. Porter and Jones both on him. Ball comes to Cheeks. They find Gminski, who lost it. Loose ball picked up by Duckworth. Over to Porter. Porter tried to get the pass on the wing to Drexler, but he threw it behind him.
Now they got the ball tipped. Ron Anderson, really the hot hand for them from the perimeter, comes in the ball game. Shelton Jones will sit down, but Portland has done a good job of making Philadelphia, in the presence of Barkley, make that extra pass.
Ron Anderson becoming one of the better 6th men in the league. He's averaging 17 points a game. He's in there for Shelton Jones. There's Kersey's jumper. Wouldn't go. Another Duckworth rebound. Duckworth way off the mark with that shot. Caldwell Jones follows and hits. Well, Caldwell has doubled his average. He only averages about 2 points a game. He scored 4 in this first quarter, and Portland has an 8-point lead. Now Barkley operates along the baseline. He couldn't get that one to go. There's no whistle. Barkley now 0 for 4 from the field, and Portland really controlling the boards. Porter goes coast to coast for 2 more. He's got 8. It's a 10-point Portland lead. You see the time remaining in the opening quarter. Sixers have gone ice cold. Cheeks puts one up. That miss. Another Portland rebound. Kersey off to Porter. Blazers on the run. He's got Drexler open underneath for 2 more.
Now that's Portland's game at their best. If they can get out in the open court, they are going to shoot a high percentage, and a lot of them will be layup.
21-9, 4:45 remaining. The Portland Trailblazers have scored the last 12 points in this first quarter. And the timeout has been called with 4:45 to go in the opening quarter, and Portland right now running away with it.
Missed a couple of perimeter shots. Caldwell Jones is now inviting him to take that shot. The last time he tried to force his way in, picked up the charge.
Porter working against Cheeks. Down low to Drexler. Comes back outside to Duckworth. To Kersey. His shot from the top of the circle won't go. He had a tough shooting night last night against the Clippers.
You hear Jim Lynam telling his team what to do defensively. Happy with that series as they get a chance to run.
And Mo Cheeks goes coast to coast for the basket. First 2 of the night for Cheeks. It's a 10-point Blazer lead. Less than 4 minutes to go now, first quarter. Duckworth over Thornton, wouldn't go. Thornton is checked into the game for the Sixers. Drexler controls, back out to Porter. Cheeks almost had the steal there. Kersey keeps firing that jumper up there. He's not been able to hit it. They get a loose ball foul call underneath.
Well, you know, it's a lot like baseball. You can't get a hit unless you swing the bat, so you've got to keep putting that ball in the air. Kersey's going to have an opportunity. His problem is he doesn't have really an offensive player's mentality where he's going to continue to shoot until he finds his stroke. So after a couple of misses, he becomes very tentative.
Hawkins going through the lane. Drew the foul. And checking into the Portland lineup is Steve Johnson. He's going to replace Caldwell Jones, who just picked up his second foul on the last trip down. That is one thing about not having a Sam Bowie tonight. The Portland club very deep with big men, so they're not going to miss him as much as they miss the guards who are injured.
Well, the problem that they have tonight, though, is now when they make that substitution, they really don't have anyone up front that can handle Charles Barkley. If they give the assignment to Johnson, there's too much quickness. If they give it to Kersey, he's too overpowering. And at some point, Barkley is going to get a wake-up call, and he's going to explode.
1 of 2 from the line for Hersey Hawkins, is an 87% shooter on the year. Philadelphia now down by 9. About 3:15 remaining in this first quarter. Johnson over to Duckworth. Duckworth has had a hot hand in this first quarter, and he maintains that hot hand. 8 points for Duckworth to go along with his 4 rebounds. Portland by 11, 23-12.
If there was a fault for Portland, it was their inability to swing the ball. They've gotten better. Hawkins.
He has 5. It's 23-14, a 9-point lead for the Blazers. Drexler back outside to Porter. Is going to try one from 3-point territory and hits it. Terry Porter with 11 points in this first quarter. And the lead back up to 12 now for the Blazers. 2:40 remaining, opening quarter. Anderson off the glass, wouldn't go. Another Duckworth rebound, but he lost it. It last touched Anderson, and the ball still belongs to the Blazers. Porter down to Kersey, operating along the baseline, too strong. Thornton pulls away the rebound. Off to Cheeks, who directs traffic as he comes down the court. Hawkins going to take that shot from the other side this time. Rolled around and out. Rebound Kersey. He has 5 rebounds in this first quarter. Duckworth again underneath. That one wouldn't go. Kersey's tip wouldn't go. Out to Drexler it comes. Duckworth from outside.
The 2-footers are too easy now. So he goes out for 18. He's got 10 in the period.
Porter and Duckworth have been the big guns for the Blazers in this first quarter. Porter has 11. Duckworth has 10. Less than 2 minutes to go. Portland with their biggest lead of the night. They have really shut down Charles Barkley to this point. Held him to 3 free throws. Anderson gets his first 2 of the night. Ron Anderson averaging 17 a game. And it's 28-16. Portland by 12. There's a steal by Thornton off to Cheeks. Sixers on the run. Thornton inside. Kevin Duckworth called for his first. And at the line will be Bob Thornton. Derek Smith, who just signed after being placed on waivers by Sacramento. And Thornton's at the line for the Sixers.
Well, before he had all of the knee problems as a Los Angeles Clipper, Derek Smith was just becoming a star in the NBA with the ability to score inside and out. And we'll see. I think he feels that his injury problems are behind him now. Does he have a place where he can play and regain some of the game that he had when he was a Clipper?
Thornton hitting 1 of 2. You saw Clinton Wheeler check into the lineup for the Portland Trailblazers. Also in there now, Richard Anderson, as Duckworth gets a breather. Porter also.
If the Sixers are going to get back in it, they'll have a chance now with Wheeler out on the floor against Phoenix, and Portland had a big lead. That lead was cut dramatically, and that's because of unfamiliarity.
Drexler with 5 points, a 13-point Portland lead. Barkley over to Thornton. Nobody on him, so Thornton takes the jumper and is way off, way short with the shot. Off to Wheeler. Wheeler was playing at Rapid City in the CBA. Played a little bit with the Miami Heat earlier this year. Underneath to Johnson. Johnson couldn't get the inside shot to go. There's a rebound off the floor for Barkley. And a foul in the backcourt. It's going to be on Drexler, and he's in some trouble. That is his 3rd personal.
We have seen that before for Portland and Clyde Drexler. You will have to sit now for an extended period of time in the second period. And that certainly hurts Portland. Now they have both of the CBA graduates out there, Steppe and Wheeler.
Brooke Steppe was playing at Pensacola, was leading the CBA in scoring when he signed a 10-day contract. Steppe out of Georgia Tech. He also played a couple of years over in France besides his NBA experience. 1 of 2 for Barkley, who has 4 points. Nothing from the field yet, though, and it's a 12-point lead for Portland. You see the time left in this first quarter. Kersey trying to beat Thornton along that baseline. And Thornton will be called for the foul, his first.
The key for Rick Adelman will be really moving his people in and out of the lineup, trying to keep the fresher legs out there. Adrian Branch now will get a chance to check into the ball game.
And Branch will replace Steve Johnson. That's a fairly small unit out there in the court now for Adelman with Steppe, Wheeler.
Well, I think it's just for the final 36 seconds of the period. He doesn't want Johnson to pick up any fouls. And they're thinking about going to a trap.
32-18, a 14-point lead. Cheeks gets it across the line to Anderson, who's open along the baseline. He's a streak shooter, so watch out if he gets a hot hand. 32-20, a 12-point lead. And Portland can play here for a final shot in this first quarter.
In these situations, if you're a defensive unit, what you really like to do is run to them, make them do something they don't want to do. They allow Wheeler to go on his own.
And Adrian Branch launches one, couldn't get it to go. Rebound out of bounds off Portland. 2 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Sixers will try to get a shot away here. Thornton footballs it down, trying to hit Barkley. It goes out of bounds, and now Portland will get that last shot. And since that's the situation, you're going to see some changes now in the lineup for the Blazers as Terry Porter and Steve Johnson check back in. Adrian Branch will sit down, and so will Clinton Wheeler.
I don't know who's coming out.
Now Branch comes back in and Steppe sits down. All three of them went to the bench there for a minute. Comes into Anderson. Anderson gets it away and hits it. The Blazers on fire in this first quarter. Richard Anderson beating the buzzer with a three-pointer. And after one, it's 35-20 Portland.
There's this dude from the west side they call the Wizard, who is amazing. Plays the middle at 6'4". Anything a 7-footer can do, he can do better. When he leaps, he just keeps going up until all you see is the bottom of his Reeboks. One time, the Wizard did the nastiest dunk I ever seen. Went up, hit the ball 2 times on the backboard, then slammed it back. See, now that takes tank time.
When the new legends are made, they'll be wearing Reeboks.
Portland's lead up, and you can see Anderson's reaction, who has been on fire in the last 3 ball games. He's a streak offensive player, and he's on a roll right now.
It's been all Portland. We'll take a look at the Minute Maid Orange soft drink stats for the first quarter, and you'll see a very dominant set of numbers on the Portland side of the ledger.
Well,
just about every category.
Field goal shooting is high and rebounds are high, and that's because the other team has missed a lot. Anderson has not, but that's his first miss. Barkley misses a tip.
And so did Thornton miss the second attempt at that tip. Now Portland controls. Adrian Branch, baseline right. Branch with his first basket. A 17-point Blazer lead. Scott Brooks, the rookie from Cal Irvine, who's got some shooting ability from out in three-point country, has checked into the Philadelphia lineup. Barkley finally gets that first field goal. He has 6 points in the ball game.
That's the part of his game that you don't want to see get going because you can't stop him on the penetration.
Steppe almost had Barkley steal that pass. Johnson kind of forced a shot, wouldn't go for him, but there to follow it home is Adrian Branch, who has scored 4 quick points in this second quarter. It's a 17-point lead again for the Blazers.
Well, Johnson looked like he shot that to miss. We got another quick timeout for Philadelphia.
This will be a 20-second timeout. I'm sure Jim Lynam just wants to see his team get something going, and they really haven't had any little surges of any kind thus far in the game. At the conclusion of tonight's game, by the way, Steve and I will be selecting the Miller Lite player of the game.
They also wanted to get Mike Gaminsky in the game, so you're allowed a substitution on that as he worked with that Ouija board over there. Putting those little dots around, but you know the problem with players, you can't remember which dot they are.
Am I an X? Am I an O? Philadelphia really being dominated on the board. You saw those numbers at the end of the first quarter. The Sixers have only picked up 1 offensive rebound. And when you got a guy like Charles Barkley on your ball club, that's almost unheard of.
Well, for Philadelphia, you know, there's plenty of time for them to get back in the ball game, and what they've got to try to do is establish some sort of offensive rhythm.
They're going to let Barkley operate against Anderson. That shot wouldn't go for him. There's an offensive rebound. That's something the Sixers have lacked. Ron Anderson got that one and put it home for his 6th point. It's a 15-point lead for the Blazers. Clinton Wheeler dishing outside to Anderson. And he's still got that hot hand. 5 points in the game for Anderson. A 17-point Portland lead. Away from the ball, a whistle.
Call a foul on Barkley. An elbowing foul. They're going to give 2 shots to Richard Anderson. So Barkley may be playing in a little bit of frustration. Jim Lynam lets him sit down for a minute to cool off. As you'll see them fighting for position right here.
So Barkley picking up his 2nd foul. Richard Anderson, who's an 85% free throw shooter, goes to the line. Barkley having a rare off night to this point, especially against this team.
Well, that's the way you control them. You hope that you run into him on one of those nights where the oven is not hot, and so far it's been turned off.
Anderson now with 7 points. Smith underneath. Gets his first basket. Derek Smith with 2. It's 42-26. A 16-point lead. Anderson tries another one. He is red hot. He and Adrian Branch have all the points for the Blazers in this 2nd quarter. It's an 18-point lead. Brooks trapped by Wheeler and Branch.
They're using a trap, and the best offensive player out there is Ron Anderson.
Steppe starting the break. Anderson finishes it. Anderson with 8 quick points in the quarter has 11 points in the game, and the Blazers have upped that lead at 20 points.
Well, it's defensive pressure, and right now there's a lot of confusion in recognizing exactly where to put the basketball, and they're trying to do a lot of things off the dribble, and that's creating problems for them.
And this is the Blazer bench that's doing it, too. All the starters are sitting down right now. Ron Anderson has picked up 8 points in the ball game. It's an 18-point Portland lead. Score should say 46-28.
Stay down. Good, that's better, Ben. Yeah.
Branch tries one from outside. Derek Smith the rebound. Down it comes to Coleman. Ben Coleman off the glass. Wouldn't go, but he was fouled by Johnson. At the line, Ben Coleman, now his 3rd year out of Maryland, a 79% free throw shooter. Sixers doing nothing very well tonight, including shooting their free throws. That's 5 misses from the free throw line already. They've hit 7 of them now. (46-29). 17-point lead for the Blazers, who have dominated all night long. Anderson for 3 more. His 2nd 3-pointer of the night. He has 14 points. It's 49-29.
Yeah, they want to know who that guy is. In Philadelphia, he never really got involved in a basketball game, but he has got the feeling tonight, and he is shooting free and easy and getting great results from the perimeter.
Quentin Wheeler working against Brooks. Steppe puts it high off the glass and got hammered as he went in. Brooks Steppe will go to the free throw line. There's the man who normally dominates in a game between Philadelphia and Portland. But tonight he has not been a factor. 1 field goal, 4 for 6 from the free throw line. Just a couple of rebounds. Steppe with his first point. Brooks Steppe drafted back in '82 by the Kansas City Kings out of Georgia Tech. Has his first 2 of the night. He is in his 4th game since signing that contract. Underneath to Jaminski, and Jaminski gets one to drop for him. He's got 6, 52-31, a 21-point lead. Steppe trying a 3-pointer. That's the first one of those he's missed in the 4 games he's played with Portland.
Now, the way you beat pressure is to pass the basketball. Brooks does a good job of looking ahead to find Gminski right at the basket. Portland has to foul to keep the easy try away. Well, that's why they call them little men, and that's what they do best, is find the big guys, and they found Mike Gminski right at the basket. Gminski is an excellent runner for a center, and of course he takes the shortest route. He runs straight down the middle of the floor, and he's been shooting well in his last 6 ball games.
He's a good shooter from outside. Always has been. 48% from the field this year, 86% from the line. He has 4 points in this quarter, 8 in the game. As you see, Portland has dominated in the points off turnovers category too. 52-33. 7:40 remaining in this first half. Steve Johnson works against Gminski. That wouldn't drop for him. Steve Johnson, about the only Blazer, has not been able to get a hot hand so far. Here comes Brooks. Down to Anderson. Anderson's long-range jumper wouldn't go. Steppe the rebound. Across to Anderson. Can he hit another one? That's the first time he's missed one of those.
Big
look at that.
By Branch.
Adrian Branch tries one. That wouldn't go. The smallest man out there, Scott Brooks, at 5'11", came off with a rebound. Gives to Anderson inside, and we're going to get a foul called in there.
The fear that you have when things begin to go good is that you take the first easy opportunity. A lot of times it's a long perimeter shot, and then that can turn into a breaking opportunity for the opponent, and that's what happens for Philadelphia and Ron Anderson. Brooks Steppe picks up the personal foul.
And we're going to get some of the starters back in there for Portland. As Terry Porter and Jess Kersey, or not Jess Kersey, Jerome Kersey. Jess Kersey is the official. Check back in. Branch and Wheeler sit down.
They're going to get the benefit of the doubt tonight.
Anderson with one more free throw. And that puts him in double figures. He's got 10. It's 52-35. A 17-point Portland lead. Porter had a great first quarter, 11 points. Steve Johnson operating against Gminski. That's one way to get yourself on the board. His first basket of the night, a 19-point Blazer lead. Coleman tries the jumper from the top of the circle. That wouldn't go, and there's a rebound for Terry Porter, who's been all over the court tonight when he's been in there for Portland. Kersey takes to the baseline, puts up the jumper, and hits it. Jerome Kersey's first field goal of the night. He has 4 points, and it's once again a 21-point lead for Portland. They opened up a 15-point lead in that first quarter, and have just added to it. This is for 3 by Brooks. Wouldn't go. Another Kersey rebound. Boy, he's pulled down a lot of those tonight. Off to Porter, just inside the three-point circle. Porter's shot wouldn't go. Kersey almost had another rebound, but instead he slapped it into the hands of Derek Smith. And underneath, a whistle, and Ron Anderson will have a chance for a three-point play. Steve Johnson committing his second personal. A timeout call here. 6:01 remaining in quarter number 2. It's been all Portland. It's been all Portland. They're up by 19 at the midway point of quarter number 2. Elsewhere on tonight's Wendy's NBA scoreboard, a lot of action. Utah, a 12-point win over Miami. Karl Malone, a big night. It was Atlanta pounding Charlotte. Boston, a 1-point win over Dallas. Game you saw earlier tonight. Detroit did it to Cleveland. First time Detroit's beaten Cleveland this year. Bill Laimbeer, a big game for the Pistons. Chicago has beaten Milwaukee again this year. 102-96 the final there at the half. Seattle up on Houston by 9. Lakers leading big over Indiana at home. And that is your Wendy's NBA scoreboard. Play resumes with Ron Anderson trying and hitting on the three-point play. Charles Barkley has checked back into the lineup, but he's not been a factor in this one. Only 1 field goal, 4 free throws for Barkley.
Well, they're coming with some pressure. We'll see. You know, Barkley's the kind of player that can explode for big numbers, but what they've got to do is whittle it down a piece at a time. They've got to do it at the defensive end.
Missed by Duckworth. Rebound by Gminski. Gets it to Derek Smith at midcourt. Porter picks him up right away. And there's a steal by Kevin Duckworth. An errant pass by the Sixers. Brooks Steppe. Back outside to Porter. Porter to Duckworth. His turnaround shot, partially blocked by Jaminski, comes into the hands of Barkley. Barkley
Again,
firing it down to Jaminski.
right down the center of the court to get that scoring opportunity. You know where you're going to find him. You just have to beat him back to that spot.
Well, Philadelphia trying to get back in it now. They're down by 16. Jaminski has 10. Kersey from outside. Jerome Kersey, who couldn't hit that shot in the first quarter, has hit that shot twice here in the second quarter. It's an 18-point Portland lead. Smith working against Steppe. His shot is short. That is the 7th rebound for Kersey. Porter bounces the pass to Duckworth. Wouldn't go for him. Jaminski the rebound. Trying to get the Sixers on the run now. Derek Smith speeds past Steppe and puts home 2. Smith now with 4, and it's a 16-point lead. Steppe working against Brooks.
Good. Stay there, Doug. Stay there. Good, Mike. Good. Stay it, Doug. Stay it. Oh, good.
Porter's got a mismatch with Anderson, but he's trying to locate Steve Johnson inside. They finally get him the ball against the shot clock, and he scores.
He only had 2 seconds left in the shot clock when he hit that one. Johnson with 4. It's an 18-point Portland lead. Brooks trying to get it inside to Barkley or Jaminski. Stolen away by Portland. Kersey losing it right back to Brooks. Down it comes to Barkley over to Jaminski. Nice move by Jaminski for 2 more. He's got 12 points, 60-44, 16-point Portland lead. Sixers beginning to play a little more actively these last couple of minutes.
Steve Johnson breaks away, and again, that's a way to take advantage of Barkley, try to allow the bigger guy a chance to score, so Johnson comes back with back-to-back hoops.
Johnson has 6, the lead back up to 18. Johnson furious. Being restrained by Terry Porter. And he'll sit down now as Drexler comes back in. Technical call against Steve Johnson. He also picked up his 3rd personal foul, and now Barkley at the line to shoot those. Boy, Barkley just can't get it going tonight. He's just 4 of 7 from the line now. Just 6 points on the night. Point number 7 for Barkley. It's a 16-point lead again for Portland. 3:15 remaining, first half. Duckworth through the lane for 2, and a chance to make it a 3-point play. Kevin Duckworth now has 12.
Before, the Trailblazers didn't have any passing in the middle, so they put their guard down there in Clyde Drexler, and suddenly they have an offensive hub. They throw the ball inside, and now Duckworth acts like a guard, puts it on the floor, now has a chance for a 3-point play. Barkley will come out of the ball game.
Bo Cheeks is checked back in. Duckworth completing the 3-point play. He now has 13 on the night, and it's a 19-point lead. Anderson has been about the only offense. He and Jaminski have been about it for Philadelphia so far in this game.
Now that shot nearly went in for Anderson. He's got that happy feeling, and everything he throws up is pretty close. Strip Caldwell Jones with the ball. Jones said it went out of bounds, caused by Anderson, but the Sixers get it back.
Jaminski tries one from long range. Couldn't get that one to go. There's Ron Anderson with a rebound. He forces one up from inside the lane. That wouldn't go. And a loose ball foul called on Ron Anderson. That's his 2nd. And we've got a timeout called here by Philadelphia with 2:53 remaining in the first half in a game that has been all Portland right from the start. And here are your Honda leaders. One of the top 5 3-point shooters in the league here tonight, Percy Hawkins, but He hasn't been heard from much tonight. The three-point shooter tonight's been Richard Anderson of Portland. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened on this technical foul that was called against Steve Johnson. He and Charles Barkley going at it pretty good.
Well, you know anything about amusement parks and bumper cars, the guy with the bigger and the faster car usually wins. Well, Johnson, and you only react like this when you're at home. We got lots of friends as he gets after the official.
65-46, Portland up by a comfortable 19.
Well, they're trying to find Drexler against Hersey Hawkins, 7 on the shot clock.
Drexler's shot wouldn't go. Another rebound for Portland. Trailblazers dominating virtually every phase of the game. Barkley on the bench. He hasn't had a lot of playing time in this first half. He just hasn't been able to get his game going. Jones tries one long range, and Sheldon Jones, rookie out of St. John's, with his first 2 of the night. But it's a 19-point lead for the Blazers. Porter kicks it back outside to Kersey. Beautiful pass, but Caldwell Jones couldn't hang on to it.
Right at the hoop, but that's the way you beat the pressure, to have someone down at the basket and then try to throw that ball inside.
Derek Smith over to Jones. Jones with good patience that time gets his 4th point, and it's a 17-point lead by the Blazers. Less than 2 minutes to go now. Beautiful pass again. Drexler held on to this one. And he has 7 first-half points as Portland approaches the 70 mark. 69-50, still a minute 35 remaining. Javinsky over Duckworth. Mike Javinsky with 10 in the quarter, 14 in the game. It's a 17-point Portland lead. Duckworth back outside to Kersey. Kersey taking that jumper, wouldn't go for him. Rebound fought for, picked up by... slammed home by Caldwell Jones after the miss by Kersey. Jones has 6, and Portland with 71 points in this first half.
Well, Pete, they're going to keep bringing you out here because last Tuesday night they had 71 too, so you might be the lucky charm.
As we approach halftime, we want to remind you that at halftime, our Prudential Halftime Report with Craig Sager in our Atlanta studios, all the scores and highlights from around the league, and live in the studio, Atlanta Hawks coach Mike Fratello will give you his mid-season impressions of the Atlanta Hawks. He also might tip you off to any new Italian restaurants Tommy Lasorda may have told him about down in Vero Beach. That's all coming up on our Prudential Report at halftime.
You know, they say in sports that you make your own breaks, and when you play hard, good things happen for you. The Trailblazers have dominated this game. The offensive rebounding, a huge advantage for them there as you look at a very calm Rick Adelman.
Derek Smith hits both of his free throws. He has 6 points. It's still a 17-point lead, though, for the Blazers, who opened up a big lead early and have just been able to maintain it. They were up by 15 at the end of the first quarter. Porter works against Cheeks. Got away from him again. Dished off to Duckworth. Only 5 seconds left to shoot it. Duckworth may not beat that clock. Just did. Horrible shot, though, and the rebound comes off to Philadelphia. Hawkins underneath Smith. He lost it. Sixers turn the ball over. Drexler corralled by Hersey Hawkins.
Definitely not going to put a show on him.
And Clyde Drexler will go to the line.
Porter looking ahead, and Drexler was trying to get into the basket, just jerked right out to the ground, and Hawkins said, can't let you have the cheap one.
Drexler with 7 points in this first half. He's now 2 out of 3 from the line. Richard Anderson has checked back in. He's the one that hit the 3-point shot at the buzzer to end the first quarter.
Well, the leading scorers for both teams really have had quiet nights so far. Barkley is sitting on the bench. He's just got 11 points, and most of those coming from the free throw line.
Cheeks with 20 seconds remaining in this first half. Sixers going to play for a final shot. They're down by 18. Now Cheeks goes on the move through the lane for 2. 4 points from Race Cheeks. Firing it down to Drexler. Look at that. But Drexler missed the layup. Got it back. Puts it up again. Got the basket to fall this time. And this time he'll have a chance to make it a 3-point play, which wouldn't have been the case if he had hit the first layup.
Well, he's smiling because he knows it's better to be lucky than good at some point. A good pass ahead by Richard Anderson, and there's Drexler, who normally would have just thrown that down, gets it back, enough control, and a good bounce, and now I have a chance for the three-point play.
And he hits it. Drexler with 11. A 19-point Portland lead. Smith will fire it up. Good if it goes. It goes. It's a 3 for Derek Smith. But it's still been all Portland at the half. Rick Adelman questioning whether he was in three-point territory, I think. Not about the clock. He was more concerned about where the shot was taken from. Derek Smith was very close. It's been all Portland at halftime.
Billy is just bad. He come under the viaduct with his Reeboks and his boys. They call him Showtime, and he is the show. Stays in the air just as long as he wants to. Once, he raised on Big Town. I mean, straight up, and just hangs there. Then fires the sweet jumper. Spreads his arms, and I believe he said, I shoot like a god. Right in Tim's face.
When the new legends are made, they'll be wearing Reeboks.
The New York Knicks had the night off, but bad news nonetheless. Mark Jackson, their starting point guard, injured his knee last night. He's on the injured list. They will not know for several days whether surgery will be required. We'll have the rest of the scores and highlights in an interview with Mike Fratello in just a moment.
Basketball, the American game played worldwide.
Welcome back to the world headquarters of Turner Broadcasting. The tightest race in the NBA is the Midwest Division, where every team but Miami has won the division title at least once since 1983, and where just 3.5 games separate the top 4 teams this year. Houston, despite a 6-game losing streak, is just 2 games out of first. Playing on the road in Seattle, the Rockets have been having trouble away from home lately, especially on this current road trip. And Xavier McDaniel tied the score here, but then Houston came back in the second quarter, opened up a 5-point lead. Akeem Olajuwon had a good first half. He was in double figures with 10 points. Also did a good job underneath the boards, but tensions got hot under the boards. Michael Cage and Akeem go at it. Watch Akeem throw a punch coming up here shortly. Right there, and Akeem Olajuwon got a technical foul, but nobody was ejected the game. Tempers did flare, of course, and Seattle is on top now by 6, third quarter. The Indiana Pacers have won 4 in a row. They've become the road warriors of the NBA, playing very well away from home. But tonight they got off to a poor start. The Lakers scored the first 6 points of the game, went up by 15 in the first quarter. Magic Johnson leading the way. Michael Thompson with an easy 2. But Indiana has come back now. By halftime, they had cut it to a 15-point lead, 67-52. Well, more scores and highlights in a moment, and an interview with Atlanta Hawks coach Mike Fratello. Like the NFL, the Central Division in the NBA is becoming known as the Black and Blue Division. The Detroit Pistons are setting the trend at home tonight against the first-place Cleveland Cavaliers. The Detroit Pistons had 4 technical fouls called on them, 2 against Chuck Daly, who was ejected from the game. He wasn't able to watch this play right here. Vinnie Johnson breaking a tie in the second half, putting the Pistons up by 2. But the Cavs, despite playing without Mark Price, who is still suffering from that concussion on Tuesday night, kept the game close. Ron Harper hitting from outside made it a 2-point game. But the trade paying dividends for the Pistons. Mark Aguirre had a complete game tonight at 22 points. Bill Laimbeer was the leading scorer with 24. But Aguirre with a nice baseline move. That right there cinched the ball game. Detroit wins it 96-90. The Atlanta Hawks playing at home against Charlotte. Not much of a contest. The Hawks dominated from the start. Dominique Wilkins had 6 dunks in the game, 35 points. The Hornets playing without Kurt Rambis. He has a sore heel and arch. He's probably out 2 to 4 games. Meanwhile, Charlotte turned the ball over 26 times. And the Hawks win it easily, 133-109. And, of course, as we told you earlier, Mike Fratello will be with us in just a moment. The other expansion team, Miami, had beaten Utah at home earlier this year. But Karl Malone was not about to let it happen again. In fact, they lost that first meeting by 21 points. But Utah led this one from the start. John Stockton, out of nowhere, comes up with a steal as he does so often, throws it down court. Thrill Bailey ends up with a basket. Miami loses at home to Utah 107-95. Certain teams always have trouble with other teams. That seems to be the case with Milwaukee and Chicago. The Bucks trying to defeat Chicago for the first time this year, taking the lead for the first time in the game in the fourth quarter. But it didn't last long. The Bulls come back. Sam Vincent gets the basket in the corner. Michael Jordan has not been up to par lately, but he had 28 points, still suffering from that flu and sore knee. But he spread the wealth out tonight, and the Bulls win at 102-96. In the first half of our doubleheader, the Dallas Mavericks trying to win in the Boston Garden for the first time in their history, but Dennis Johnson drives the lane and puts Boston on top 107-102, but Dallas still had a chance to win it. They're down by one with the ball, but look at this terrible shot by Derek Harper. Had 5 seconds to work a good play, threw that off-balance shot, and Boston runs out the clock, wins it by 107-106. And coming up in a moment, Atlanta Hawks coach Mike Fratello. Well, at the start of the year, many felt the Atlanta Hawks would be head and shoulders above the rest of the league, making their first impressions in Atlanta, Moses Malone and Reggie Theus. But, you know, Coach, despite an improved record over a year ago, people look at the standings and say, hey, you're in fourth place. What's wrong with the Hawks?
I think a lot of people felt this was going to be the first team to go undefeated, 82-0 during the regular season when we made a couple trades in the offseason. Unfortunately for us, the loss of Kevin Willis has hurt us along the way, whereas once we were a tall, big team, we've become a short team all of a sudden. Moses is a short center as standards go. Cliff Levingston at the power forward is a short power forward, and Nika is the right size over at the small forward spot. But missing that one extra body that we've had in the past causes some problems, really.
Has it been difficult for you to blend together this talent, putting in the new players into a system that for years you had the same starters? 40% of your starting rotation, now different.
Well, as you all know, early in the year, we lost many games where we had 15, 16-point leads going into either the fourth quarter or 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, and then suddenly it would vanish, disappear. What we were facing was 3 individuals who had each been the main man on their team, Reggie, Moses, and Dominique, and we were struggling to find out who was the guy that was supposed to take the next shot. We didn't have the ball movement that we wanted, and then the defense suddenly disappeared. So we've tried to regroup since the All-Star break, make a commitment to defense, and so far the 8-2 record isn't bad after the All-Star break.
The road to the finals, of course, will probably have to lead through the Central Division, the toughest division in basketball right now. What about playing the Pistons, playing the Cavaliers? Those two teams locked horns tonight as they did Tuesday night when Rick Mahorn threw that elbow to Mark Price. $5,000 fine. Was that enough for Rick Mahorn?
Well, I think the league is in a very tough spot right now because as you take a look at the play right here, this isn't the first time that it's happened with Rick Mahorn. A guy of his size, his strength, to take a shot at a small guard like that and potentially end the player's career. Okay, if there's damage to his eye, it could crack the cheekbone area. I think the league is eventually going to have to take a stronger stand because the next step after that is the players themselves are going to get sick and tired of this happening. And I'd hate to see someone retaliate, okay, and try and wipe out a Piston, okay, to even the thing up again. I don't think that's the way to do it. But it's just going to go so far of guys getting hurt on other teams where eventually one player is going to step forward as big, as strong, and is going to end one of the Pistons' careers.
Our next view of the Hawks will be Tuesday night when you take on the Los Angeles Lakers. Anytime anybody plays the Lakers, it's a big rivalry. I know the crowd will be sold out. I mean, it'll be an exciting game. What do you expect from them?
For me, I'm looking forward to it because it's going to be one of the last times we see Kareem, okay, facing us, okay. It's about time for Kareem to step down now and watch the games from TV. He's done too much damage all these years around the league.
What will you give him Tuesday night?
I'm just going to sit back and let Mr. Turner make the presentation, okay, but I'm going to shake his hand and thank him for the greatness. I graduated high school the same year as Kareem did, and the fact that he's still playing, okay, professional basketball, he's the greatest.
You still got your hair. You look a lot younger than he does. Thanks for being with us, Mike Fratello. We'll see him Tuesday night. Now let's go back to the second half of our game, Philadelphia and Portland. Pete Van Weeren sitting by with Steve Jones. Gentlemen.
Okay, thank you, Craig and Mike. It's a 75-59 Portland lead over Philadelphia. And, Steve, you commented at the very outset of the game that the key to a Portland win tonight or the key to a Philadelphia win tonight is the performance of Charles Barkley, who has dominated the series between these two teams since he's been in the league. But for the first time, perhaps, in the history of these two teams meeting with Barkley in uniform, he has not been a factor at all. Just 1 for 6 from the field, just 5 free throws, 7 points, 3 rebounds. That's not a Charles Barkley first half.
Well, no cookies for the Monster so far, but there's a second half of play. He's having one of those off nights that you hoped that he would have, and along with it, his teammates have been struggling as well, and so that's made a huge difference. Portland has come out. Terry Porter was a catalyst, really got them out of the box very well. but it has been Kevin Duckworth who has done a lot of damage for Portland with a follow-up. So all night long, Portland has been active on the board, and Duckworth has been leading the way. Good activity and presence, following any Drexler miss and putting it back in. And Portland has been active in all areas of the game. They got their people to come off of the bench to give them a strong contribution, particularly at the defensive end in that second period of play. Anderson knocked the ball away. And for big guys, they always like to get rewarded. And he's running 94 feet to get the hoop at the other end. And he had a strong second period, 11 points in the period, 14 first half.
Take a look at the halftime stats now, and you'll see that the shooting percentages are about even, but Portland has shot the ball 18 more times than has Philadelphia. Look at the big rebounding edge the Blazers have. The turnovers in the Blazers' favor, and that offensive rebound comparison almost unbelievable when you think about a team with Charles Barkley in the lineup getting only 5 offensive boards. Kaminsky and Ron Anderson with 14, Duckworth 15, Anderson 14, Drexler and Porter 11 for Portland. Third quarter underway. Cheeks, Hawkins, Jaminski, Barkley, and Jones out there for the Sixers. Caldwell, Jones, Terry Porter, Drexler, Duckworth, and Kersey for Philadelphia. And maybe that'll get Charles Barkley started. Well, that's his second field goal of the night.
That's where he can do a lot of damage. On the offensive board, he's there, gets the ball, puts it back in. And again, he's a kind of player who can go from anywhere from 15 to 20 points in a period, and that makes a big difference. You see the output for Portland, that's the highest they've had for one half.
They did it once before against San Antonio. Barkley with another free throw miss. He's missed 4 from the line tonight in 9 tries. Porter to Kersey. Kersey to Drexler. Drexler thought about the shot, sends it out to three-point land where Porter connects. Porter with his first point since the first quarter. That's his second three-point basket of the night. It's a 17-point lead. Trying to answer with 3 of his own in doing so is Hersey Hawkins. He now has 8 points. And it's the Blazers by 14 in the opening minute of quarter number 3. Drexler puts one up over Hawkins. That won't go. Jaminski the rebound. Sixers in the early going here in the third quarter doing a better job on the boards. Barkley trying to get it to Jaminski. Duckworth got a hand on it, knocked it out. 13 seconds remain in the shot clock. Cheeks works against Porter. Hersey Hawkins trying to get a hot hand. That's a 2-point basket. So Hawkins with a quick 5 in the quarter. He has 10 in the game. It's a 12-point game now. Philadelphia getting themselves back in it a little bit.
Well, you know, by NBA standards, what you want to do is try to get around that 8 to 12-point margin and continue to work. Drexler with the offensive rebound.
And he fouls with his 13th point to get that lead back up to 14. Hawkins sends it over to Cheeks, who looks inside, finds Barkley under there. Barkley couldn't get it to go. Tried for the tip, lost it there. Drexler comes up with it on the run to Kersey. Jerome Kersey has 8. And that lead back up to 16. Hawkins. Losing the ball, trying to get it back, but Drexler picks it up near midcourt, and he turned the ball over.
2 officials, one named Barkley, the other Kersey. They both get the call. You could tell that Drexler knew that he had touched it with both hands. He didn't want to pick it up again. He probably should have just continued on and hoped that he could fool him.
Jones will inbounds it from the far sideline. Sheldon Jones into Maurice Cheeks. 9:40 remaining, third quarter. 82-66, Portland. They opened up an early big lead in the first quarter, and they've maintained it throughout the game. Philadelphia trying to get back in. Drexler trying for the steal. Is going to be called for his 4th personal.
That's the problem when you have quick hands. Sometimes you want to reach. He's so good at taking the ball from people, but sometimes when you're a little slow, you get caught. He's got 4, and he'll have to really watch it. Hersey Hawkins should try to put some offensive pressure on him.
Barkley puts it up over Jones and hits it. Charles Barkley with 2 field goals in this quarter. That's 1 more than he had in the whole first half. He's in double figures now at 11, but it's still a 14-point Portland lead. Caldwell Jones took the jumper. Out of bounds off Jaminski, and he's very frustrated with himself that time. He had the ball twice and lost it. Finally went out of bounds. And when you're down by 14 points, you can't afford to let a rebound get away like that. Caldwell Jones. He has 8 points. That matches his season high for Portland. He's not an offensive-minded player. Barkley driving toward the lane. Looks like Charles Barkley is waking up a little.
Well, the fans, they say he looked like a New York Giant linebacker, perhaps Lawrence Taylor, on the loose, but you can see at the other end. See what I mean when you got a bigger bumper car?
Barkley.
That's the kind of thing that wakes a great player up, though.
And he's picked up 7 points in the quarter. He's got 14 in the game. Drexler. He has 15. It's 86-71, a 15-point Portland lead, and a timeout being called by Philadelphia with 8:42 remaining in the third, and Portland up by 15. With 8:42 remaining in quarter number 3, Portland's been comfortably ahead since early in the first quarter. I want to remind you that tomorrow evening at 6:05 Eastern Time, U.S. Olympic Gold will feature 2 winter events: the World Luge Championships from Winterberg, West Germany, and Women's World Cup Downhill from Lake Louise and Alberta, Canada. That's tomorrow night, 6:05 Eastern Time, only on Superstation TBS. Charles Barkley beginning to warm up. Held to a single field goal, just 7 points and just 3 rebounds in the first half.
Caldwell Jones out of the ball game. He's got 4 personal fouls. We'll see if Barkley attacks Anderson.
Jones working on Kersey. Got around him to the baseline, but his jumper falls a little short. Kersey pulls off the rebound, fires it down to Porter. Porter, beautiful pass to Drexler. Basket's good. He'll go to the line.
If you start to signal early enough, someone will see you. Drexler started waving his hand right around midcourt. He was a trailer on the play. Terry Porter caught his hand. The lane opened up, and Drexler just sailed in.
So Drexler was 17 in the game. He's 3 out of 5 from the line. Now he's 4 out of 6. He has 7 in the quarter, 18 in the game. It's an 18-point lead. Anderson to Jaminski. He'll try that jumper from the top of the circle. Can't get it to fall. Drexler on the run with a rebound. Over to Kersey through the lane. Count the basket. He'll go to the line.
Well, our statistician Dennis Venetian before the Drexler layup and the Kersey layup had given us note. Portland had 27 to that point, so the total is 29, but that's one thing that Drexler can do is find the open man. He does. It's another 3-point play for Portland.
Kersey now in double figures. He has 11. 92-71, a 21-point lead again for the Blazers. Jaminski looking underneath for Anderson. Nice pass, but Anderson couldn't get the layup to go for. Another Portland rebound.
You notice when you're getting layups how many people become runners. Big guys couldn't run before. Now they're all beating the little guys at the other end.
Into Duckworth. His turnaround jumper good. Well, Portland's woken up after a sluggish start in this third quarter, and they've built that lead now up to 23 points, 94-71. Duckworth has 17. 7.5 minutes to go in the third.
Always in a layup, in a ball game, you look for control, and when you're trying to come back, you're trying to demonstrate some control. Philly has not had any of that tonight.
Another Philadelphia miss and another Portland rebound. 11 rebounds for Kersey. But this time, the Blazers turn the ball over. Near travel that time by Anderson. His jumper wouldn't go. Richard Anderson comes off with a rebound. He had 14 points in the first half, including a couple of three-pointers. Duckworth had a strong inside game tonight. That one fell short. Cheeks on the run. Got a 4-on-3. Hawkins got hammered. Kersey will be called for his second.
When you describe Jerome Kersey, The one phrase that always comes out is a relentless competitor. He refuses to give up any cheap opportunities. It looked like Hawkins was going to have an easy chance to get to the hoop. Hersey steps in trying to make the block, picks up the personal foul. Thornton's in the ball game. Mike Gminski sits down.
And Hersey Hawkins at the line.
And the thing with Hawkins, he came out of the box real quick. Hit a three-pointer, hit another one right behind it. And he hasn't looked to put the ball in the air. And I think in order for Philadelphia to have any chance to get back in the game, he's got to play a major role.
94-72 with 6:40 remaining, third quarter, a 22-point Blazer lead. Philadelphia has not shot well tonight from the free throw line. 18 of 26. They have 8 misses. Drexler out to Anderson. Porter. Underneath to Duckworth. He gets his own rebound, puts it up again. Couldn't get the shot to fall, but he will get 2 tries from the line. Maurice Cheeks committing his second.
Portland did everything right, but then they got a better defensive play and reaction from Charles Barkley to block the first Duckworth chance, but it came right back to him.
You begin to see a little bit of momentum building in this Portland ball club after all the turmoil and all the struggles they went through for a good portion of this season. This could be their 4th consecutive win under the new head coach Rick Adelman, and they're playing a much more spirited game.
There's definitely a different attitude. They're trying harder, but they're playing with a lot more freedom, and that makes a huge difference.
A 21-point Portland lead. There's a steal by Maurice Cheeks. How many times have you seen him do that in his 11-year career in this league? He has 8 in the game now. It's a 19-point Portland lead. 95-76, just under 6 minutes remaining in the third.
Cheeks has always had tremendous hands, and you just can't aim anything around him.
Duckworth a little strong with the shot. Rebound battled for. It's loose. Barkley trying to save it. He goes tumbling into the seats. And we'll get a jump ball. Barkley and Duckworth. Barkley slamming it down to Hersey Hawkins for 2 more.
Should have played volleyball. You see the way he went up and spiked that one to the other end.
Hawkins has 8 points in the quarter, 13 in the game, 5:40 to go in the third quarter. Portland still comfortably ahead.
I'm the big daddy of the greatest bar game of all time, Fuse Ball. And us Fuse Ballers drink Miller Lite. Miller Lite's a less filling beer. It's brewed from the ground up. It's not a watered-down version of regular beer. And Fuse Ball is a great game. Because when a guy loses, everyone knows he loses.
When it's Miller Lite, less filling, tastes great.
I think we have a loser. Hey, barehanded.
When you have a quick, explosive leaper like Charles Barkley, you can out-jump your man even though he's bigger. And you see Barkley, Jeff spikes it down to Hersey Hawkins, who carried it home with 2 hands.
Before we resume play, here's tonight's Wendy's NBA scoreboard. Utah winner over Miami. Atlanta wins big over Charlotte. Boston edging Dallas. Detroit beat Cleveland for the first time this year. Same story with Chicago and Milwaukee. Seattle over Houston. Lakers winning big over Indiana. And we're back live, 95-78, 5.5 minutes remaining in the third.
The thing that's interesting to note about that Milwaukee-Chicago series is that Milwaukee's had great success against the rest of the league, and Chicago just got their number.
Hersey over to Anderson. He tries 1 for 3. This time wouldn't go for him just before the buzzer went off. Hawkins over to Cheeks. Underneath to Barkley. Barkley operating where he loves to operate. Couldn't get the basket to fall, and they're going to go. This one's going to go against the Sixers. Thornton called for the personal.
Thornton
second.
Over the top. You know, if Barkley gets that opportunity again, he'll just go up and tear it down, shaking his head right now about the missed opportunities.
Less than 5 minutes to go now in the third. It's 95-78. Drexler looking inside to Duckworth, sends it outside instead to Porter. His three-point effort won't go. And Hawkins got fouled in the backcourt. And that is 5 now on Clyde Drexler. It also puts Portland over the limit here in the third quarter, and Drexler will have to sit down now. Still a lot of time left in this game, 4:43 in the third, so Drexler might be sitting for a while. Brooks Steffi comes in to replace him.
Well, the thing is Portland has been able to play very well with Drexler in foul problems, but you don't want to have to make a steady diet of that, particularly with the guy with the offensive abilities of Hersey Hawkins.
And it would seem to me, Steve, that if Philadelphia is going to make any kind of a move, it would be a good time to do it right now with a guy like Drexler on the bench. We'll see if they can. 95-80, a 15-point Portland lead.
They've taken their best passer out of the game. They get an offensive foul against Duckworth as Thornton does a good job of drawing the foul.
Was it real or was it acting?
We talked about bumper cars. You see how they react. That's all acting right there, but he won.
Now Philadelphia can get that lead down to 13, but Cheeks couldn't get the shot to go. Barkley pulls away the rebound. One of his few offensive rebounds tonight. Barkley hooks it out to Cheeks. Cheeks through the lane. Good move. It goes for Maurice Cheeks. He's got 10, and that lead down to 13 points. Brooks Steffi brings it down, gives to Anderson.
You know they had a 23-point lead. Some of it they're going to give back, and what Portland has to do is now come back to good offensive presence at their end of the floor. They don't want to play from the perimeter. First, get that one to go down.
Jerome Kersey has 13, and that lead back up to 15. Anderson trying to beat Kersey. Gets around him. The shot a little strong off the glass. Porter comes away with a rebound. Porter tried to hook that pass underneath the Steffi. It's stolen right away by Barkley. Barkley behind the back to Cheeks, who puts in 2 more. Maurice Cheeks with 8 in the quarter, 12 in the game, and Drexler with 5 fouls on the bench.
Well, that time he shouldn't have waited for Barkley. Porter was waiting, and then he just threw the ball, and Barkley stepped in and turned it to a turnover and a hoop.
13-point lead. Anderson. And away from the ball, Jess Kersey blows the whistle. Another foul is going to be called against Bob Thornton. That's his third.
When you have a big lead, you know, if you're the coach over there, you're constantly preaching to your team, keep doing the things that helped you become successful, but it's almost always going to happen where players are going to get that happy feeling and feel that everything is working. They're going to put up some bad shots. They're going to make some poor decisions, and the other team is going to make a run at them. Philadelphia has made a run. Portland responds. They have 3 minutes left in the period in which to try to shut them down.
And Duckworth now with 20 points on the night. Anderson outside to Cheeks. Hawkins tries another three-pointer. That one rattled around, came out. Kersey pulls down another rebound. That is 12 rebounds for Jerome Kersey. Outside to Anderson, back over to Kersey. Couldn't get the jumper to fall for him, but it still belongs to the Blazers. Terry Porter having another good game. 14 points, 10 assists in the game for Porter. Here comes Steve Johnson checking back in. Kevin Duckworth will get a breather.
Porter was on pace for a 40-point night the way he came out of the box. He had 11 points and looked like he could score at will, but really has not looked to shoot the ball. Comes back with the hoop now.
He must have been listening, Steve. 16 points for Porter, 101-84. 17-point lead. Anderson over to a wide-open Maurice Cheeks, who hits 2 more. And Cheeks with 10 in the quarter now, 14 in the game. 15-point Portland lead.
Philly can't exchange. They get a good turnover this time, and Cheeks is trying to push the pace.
Cheeks almost walked himself. Anderson going toward the bucket, got fouled. That is 3 now on Kersey. And Ron Anderson, who had 14 first-half points, looking for his first points here in the third quarter. Derek Smith in for Charles Barkley. Looked for a while there, Steve, like Barkley was really going to get it going again, but he's kind of been out of the game again the last couple of minutes.
Now, Philly got in here, and they may have gotten a dose, and Charles Barkley may have gotten a dose of that snow that we had come in here in the last couple of days. He may be a little under the weather.
Well, I'll tell you what, an 82-game schedule, you're entitled to have one bad night. That's about all a guy like Barkley has during the course of the year. 13-point Portland lead with less than 2 minutes to go now in the third. And another Blazer turnover.
Porter was looking for Kersey to pop. He didn't. That one just sailed free.
Well, the Sixers can get it down to an 11-point game now. Anderson working against Steppe. Puts the shot up over Brooks Steppe and hits. Ron Anderson has 18 points in the ball game. That's an 11-point lead. It was a 23-point lead earlier in this quarter for the Blazers.
Before the period ends, what Portland would like to do is get some offensive rhythm back. Again, you don't want to have to play over the top all night long. It usually results in a long rebound and a chance for the opponent to run.
Philadelphia can get it down to a single-figure deficit now. Anderson firing one in from outside. He has hit for 6 points in this quarter. He's hit for 20 in the game. And the Philadelphia 76ers are as close as they've been since way back in the first quarter with 1:11 left to timeout. Portland leading now by only 9.
A good defensive stop turned into a great offensive play, and when you can fly like Jerome Kersey, it turns out to be a pretty play.
Henderson bringing the ball down for Philadelphia. 110-98. 9.5 minutes to go. Philadelphia has trailed all night. And they keep striving here in this fourth quarter to make a move to get back into the game.
Well, there's still plenty of time as Steve Johnson tried to make the block on the Gaminsky hook. Will pick up his personal foul. That is number 4 on Johnson, first team here with 9:21 to go in the fourth.
Gaminsky with 14 points. He got them all in the first half. Drexler sitting down with 5 personal fouls. He hasn't played since about 4 minutes were remaining in the third quarter.
It'll be just about 12 minutes before Adelman puts him in the game. He'll probably put him back in around the 6 or 7 minute mark.
Gaminsky now with 16. It's a 10-point lead again for Portland. Porter looks for Steve Johnson down low. Out to Anderson. Down to 5 seconds left. Johnson puts up the hook and hits. Steve Johnson with 10. And the lead back up to 12 for the Blazers. Just under 9 minutes remaining in the game. Derek Smith sees an opening. Couldn't get the shot to fall, but he will go to the line.
Again, the advantage that Smith has against Richard Anderson becomes evident, and he's able to put the ball on the floor, get right at the basket. The defense doesn't react. That's Johnson's second foul in only about 30 seconds. That gives him 5 on the night, second team.
And Kevin Duckworth is going to check back into the Portland lineup. And Steve Johnson now in some foul trouble. In case you are wondering where Sam Bowie is tonight, he's out with a flu.
Nothing more serious than that. I mean, the flu can have its own problems, but he shouldn't be gone long.
You still wonder if the guy might not be jinxed, though. He just gets back into action after nearly 3 years of inactivity because of leg problems. Just getting back into the groove, and the flu bug strikes. Hopefully he'll be back in action soon, but he is not here tonight.
Good defensive pressure by the Sixers. Again, Portland works against the clock.
Down to 5 seconds to shoot it again. And an illegal defensive call from Jess Kersey underneath. That's the first such whistle against either team tonight. Porter inbounds it, gets it right back.
They look for Duckworth, and now they'll come back with a 2-man game.
Porter trying to beat Brooks, and Brooks fouled him.
Well, Porter has been trying to get an advantage and get a hoop against Brooks since he's entered the game. That time he finally got a lane and got inside, and now he'll go to the line.
Gary Porter, who has probably played more minutes than anybody in the league these last 4 games, with the backcourt hurting with injuries. Had a 44-minute effort last night against Los Angeles. And he hasn't missed more than a couple of minutes of tonight's game.
Well, he doesn't show any wear and tear. Now, a couple of years from now, he might be really mad because he had to put so much time in, but he is young. He's very resilient. Gets 1 or 2 free throws.
He now has 17 in the game. It's a 12-point Portland lead. 8 minutes remaining. Anderson, who has really kept the Sixers' hopes alive with his outside shooting. Brooks will try one from three-point territory. He's dangerous from out there. A 36% shooter from three-point land. Those are his first points of the night. And it's down to a 9-point game. Duckworth couldn't hang on. Ball goes back to Philadelphia.
The interesting thing about it appears that Jim Lynam is not going to come back to Charles Barkley.
No.
Barkley sits down over there as they get closer and closer into the ball game.
This is probably as few minutes as Charles Barkley has played in the game all season, but he just was not a factor tonight. Jaminski hits for 2. Barkley playing the role of cheerleader. It's a 7-point lead now for Portland. This is the closest Philadelphia's been since way back early in the first quarter. A 20-second timeout's been taken here by Portland as they try to readjust. And you see there's still a lot of time left. Philadelphia, by the way, playing a much better game on the road this year. Last year they won only 9 games on the road all season. They were 9-32. This year they've won 11 games already on the road, 11-17. And as Charles Barkley looks on from the bench, where he's spent a good part of the night, we'll remind you that upcoming on Tuesday night, this should be a great one. The Lakers and the Hawks. Skip Carey and Steve Jones will have that one for you. 8:05 Eastern Time from the Omni in Atlanta. Drexler back in the lineup for Portland. He's playing with 5 fouls. It was when he went out of the game, the Sixers began to make their first move to get back in this game. And Kersey got hammered by Henderson. First foul committed by Gerald Henderson.
Good reaction by Terry Porter to get Portland back in a position where they had a chance to score. They got the ball over to Kersey.
Jerome Kersey with 17 points tonight. He's 3 out of 3 from the line.
Last night against the Los Angeles Clippers, Jerome Kersey could not find pay dirt. Came up with a big hoop with about 36 seconds to go, his second of the night, that gave Portland a little breathing room, and they were able to put that game away against the Clippers.
So Kersey with 19 points in the game now, 115, 106, and 9-point lead. Henderson speeds around the Portland defense, but there for the block is Kersey. And he's holding on to that left hand. Might have jammed a finger that time.
Now, Kersey's had a tremendous night on the boards and making a lot of hustle plays, the kind that don't show up in the box, but really instrumental in trying to keep your team with the momentum.
Brooks along the baseline. That's a shot that a guy 5'11" probably should think about before taking.
No, that's the kind when you're 5'11" you have to make up if you're going to drive. You know, the thing you should have done was take that little jump shot as we take a look at the NBA scoreboard.
Lakers look like they're going to win one against Indiana.
5 on the shot clock.
Jaminski, aware of the time, hits again from outside. Jaminski has 20, and it's a 7-point ball game.
I'm telling you, Pete, we're going to have a big man shootout at that All-Star game next year because all these guys are playing outside. Barkley now is going to come back in the ball game.
He's been on the bench for a considerable time. So now Philadelphia is right back in this one. Duckworth. And he'll go to the line. Philadelphia was looking for a 3-second call there against Duckworth. As Charles Barkley checks back into the game. You can see how off his game has been tonight. Not because he's in foul trouble or anything. He just hasn't had a good ball game.
And that's for his average, and that's not even close to the average that he's had against this team, the Trailblazers. It's 35, just about 35 points and 19 rebounds.
And in the first meeting of these two teams this year, he had a career-type night, 41 points and 22 rebounds. But Nothing like that tonight. 21 points now for Duckworth. 116-108, an 8-point lead. A lot of time left.
If you're Henderson, you've got to try to put some pressure on Drexler at the offensive end. Brooks for three.
Right into the arms of Jerome Kersey. Porter rifles it down to Drexler. Clyde's jumper way off the mark into the hands of Barkley. Barkley starts the Sixers on the run, nearly lost control of the ball and finally did. He tried to save control of the ball with a bounce pass, but he never really had control of it after he reached about midcourt. The turnovers are even. That was not the case in the first half when Philadelphia had almost twice as many as the Blazers did.
Well, that third period was costly to Portland in terms of turnovers. The defensive pressure by the Sixers has made a lot of that happen. Porter against Cheeks.
And Terry Porter now has 19. That lead back up to 10. Barkley and Anderson doing some banging around down low. Now Barkley runs into his own man, Jaminski, and Jaminski is hurt. Jaminski is hurting.
Portland has got the ball. They've got a 4-on-5. They can get it to the other end and get a score. They got a free man. Henderson fouls.
And quickly, Al Domenico, the trainer of the 76ers, out to try to determine what happened to Mike Jaminski. What happened was he ran into his own player, Charles Barkley.
A testimony to the strength and, again, the agility and balance of Barkley coming into traffic right here. Pop takes a good shot and then has enough presence to think, hey, I'm going to get a free throw out of this.
Well, they've taken a timeout now as they tend to Mike Jaminski. So the clock stops with 5:04 remaining in the game. And Portland leading it by 8. Portland leading at 118-110. You see there's plenty of time left. 5:04. Pete Van Weer and Steve Jones with you from the Coliseum, where it's been a strange kind of a ball game. Philadelphia falling way behind with Barkley in the lineup. They sat Charles Barkley down, got themselves back into the game. Now Charles Barkley came off the bench and almost decapitated one of his own teammates.
And that would point out to you, would you take a charge on this guy? Coaches always say, get in front of him. Take that charge.
Jaminski's okay. He's going to stay in the ball game, but he was winded there for a while. Apparently that's all that happened. He got the wind knocked out of him. But he's going to come back into the game. And they need him because he has been one of the few offensive guns the Sixers have had tonight. Kevin Duckworth at the line. That's the first one. He's got 22.
Well, you know, both of these teams scored in a high rate in periods 2 and 3. Both have slowed down here. Duckworth comes up with 2 key free throws to put the game back at 10-point advantage for Portland.
Under 5 minutes now. Cheeks works against Porter. Jaminski over Duckworth. Wouldn't go for him. Rebound Kersey, who's done a great job on the boards tonight. That is 16 rebounds tonight for Jerome Kersey. Kersey has also done a good job in scoring some points. Drexler now with 20.
Well, that play right there broke Jim Lynam's heart just a little bit because they thought they had Drexler under control, and from the weak side they get an easy 2 for Kersey.
Barkley pulls down the rebound. And he's tied up by Anderson. Oh, and Barkley can't believe that call. He said, it's my ball.
Well, you know it's not tonight. I can tell you that. He said, now, wait, how can this be? Look, you see right here, Jerome Kersey is trying to control him now. He got the ball right there, comes over the top to tie him up.
Barkley operating with 4 white shirts around him. And he'll get a chance to go to the line. And now some foul difficulties beginning to arise for this Portland team. Drexler playing with 5. Kersey's just picked up his 4th. Barkley at the line. He now has 17. There's Clyde Drexler. He's playing with 5 personals.
Drexler has not been a factor here since the middle of the third period of play. He's re-entered the game. Perhaps his presence will help Portland down the stretch, but he really has not been involved.
4 minutes remain. It's a 10-point lead for the Portland Trailblazers. Has been ahead all night. Drexler puts it up over 2 Sixers, and he hits it. Drexler has 20. Kersey has 21. Porter has 19. Anderson over to, well, now comes down low to Barkley. Barkley had 3 men around him, so he gives it off to Anderson. Wouldn't go. Neither would Jaminski's tip. Rebound comes loose off the floor. Cheeks has it. Percy Hawkins tries one from 3-point line and hits it. Hawkins now with 18.
Had 10 in the third period, and that's his first points here in the fourth. The Sixers within 9. They come back to Drexler.
Closing in on the 3-minute mark. Drexler takes one over Hawkins. That one wouldn't go. There is Kersey with another rebound. Another rebound after he missed the slam. So give Kersey 2 more rebounds. That gives him 18 rebounds in the ball game. 21 points and 18 boards for Kersey. He's also played a good game defensively.
Well, it has been Jerome Kersey's night. Bouncing back from an off night. And I guess if you remember on Tuesday night when he played against the Phoenix Suns, he had a tremendous ball game then. So maybe it's only at home.
He now has 22 points in the game. Barkley had that rebound stolen away by Kersey. And he'll go to the line again. Jerome Kersey doing it all tonight. He has scored, he has rebounded, he has played defense.
Now, many times when you're the shooter, you're the one that knows before everyone else that you've missed a shot. He did a good job of reacting to his miss, chasing it, misses the first half of the free throw here. Sixers, or Portland wants a timeout.
So the clock stops with 2:55 remaining. It's 125-115. The Portland Trailblazers trying for a 4th straight victory tonight and trying to snap a brief 2-game winning streak the Sixers have been on this road trip. We want to invite you after our NBA game tonight to stay tuned for Fred Hickman and Inside the NBA. All the scores and highlights from tonight, plus news from around the league. They'll take a look at Larry Bird's return. When will that happen? A profile on 76ers coach Jimmy Lynam. And you'll hear from Rolando Blackman. That's Inside the NBA every Friday following our NBA telecast only on Superstation TBS. There's your score, 10-point lead. Still plenty of time for Philadelphia to do something about it. They cut a 23-point lead down to about the 8-12 range. That's been about as close as they can get.
Well, you know, you're playing psychologically with the 76ers right now. They've got to see something happen in the next probably minute and 20 seconds to really be able to continue their effort of trying at the defensive end to shut Portland down. If they can come up with a couple of quick turnovers, they know they're right back in the ball game. One of the guys that will play a key role in that is Charles Barkley.
And the key role that he normally plays in the game has not been played tonight. Jerome Kersey having a good game. 19 rebounds in this ball game, a career high. But really, it's been a very well-balanced scoring attack for Portland. Kersey with 22, Duckworth 23, Drexler has 20, Porter has 19. And Charles Barkley, who normally dominates this Portland team, has just not been the factor that he normally is in the game tonight.
And you throw in the 17 that Richard Anderson gave Portland, that may really be the difference in the ball game right there. The off night of Barkley plus the huge night that Richard Anderson has had, along with Jerome Kersey's activity on the board.
And an off night for Charles Barkley is a night that most players would love to have. He's got 18 points and 8 rebounds. Doesn't sound all that bad, but
that's about what I said at the stop, huh?
You said hold them at 20 points and under 10 rebounds, and you should win the game if you're Portland. That's exactly what they've done. Kersey, after the timeout, hits that free throw. He had missed his last 2. He has 10 in the quarter, 23 in the game. That lead back up to 11. Less than 3 minutes to go now. Cheeks works against Porter. Jaminski from the top of the circle. He loves that spot. 22 for Jaminski.
They come out with some pressure. And one of the ways to break it is to let a big man handle the ball. Anderson's pretty good at that, so they give it to him.
2.5 minutes to go. Porter working against Cheeks outside Anderson. Can he hit another three-pointer? That one wouldn't go. Rebound. Pulled away by Jaminski, and Clyde Drexler is fouled out. Jaminski had it. Drexler tried to tip it away, and he's going to be called for his 6th personal, and will have to leave the game. He'll sit down with 20 points. Now, it was when Drexler sat down with his 5th personal foul that Philadelphia made their first move to cut a 23-point lead in half.
Watch the ball come out from the perimeter. Now there the ball comes back up, and it looks like they both get to the ball at the same time.
So Drexler is fouled out. Brooks Steppe checks back in. And Philadelphia down by 9. See if they make a move again. Barkley underneath. Wouldn't it be something if Barkley all of a sudden got it going now? A 7-point Portland lead. That's as close as Philadelphia's been since the first quarter.
Portland has to play smart here in the final 2 minutes of play. They want to use some clock, but they also want to continue to attack at the offensive end.
Down to 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Kersey couldn't get that one to fall, but there's a big rebound for Kevin Duckworth. Steppe has to bring it back outside.
Steppe, that's his shot, was reluctant to pull the trigger, probably because he's still trying to make the team.
Duckworth with 7 left in the shot clock. Missed it. Cheeks the rebound. And Philadelphia can pull now to within 5. Anderson into the lane. Shot wouldn't go. Another rebound. Number 20 of the night for Jerome Kersey, who has been the difference in the game. Closing into the 1-minute mark. Porter takes it through the lane. Jaminski got him. Jaminski now has picked up 5 fouls. Gary Porter at the line. Porter having another big game, playing a lot of minutes again.
Free throws down the stretch have hurt Portland in extending their lead. They've had chances at the line, clock stop, to really put some psychological pressure on Philadelphia, and they're usually coming away 1 of 2.
They shot the ball well from the line the first half. It's not been the case in the second half. Porter makes that one and now has 20 points in the ball game. It's an 8-point Portland lead. 1 minute to go in the game.
The Sixers are going to be thinking of 3-point plays, either the 3-point shot.
Anderson shot wouldn't go. Steppe hustling to save that one to Anderson. And now with about 40 seconds left, Porter walks the ball down.
Well, they want to spread the court. They definitely want to use the clock now in this situation. The Sixers are going to have to try to make a steal and stop the clock so to have any success.
Steppe wide open from the top of the circle. He can shoot from out there with nobody on him. He has 4. 129-119, a 10-point lead. And it looks like the Portland Trail Blazers are going to be dead even with the Dallas Mavericks, who lost earlier tonight to Boston. Anderson launches one from out there and hits. That was only a 2-point attempt, however. 26 for Anderson. Steppe has a clear lane, but he'll bring it back outside as the fans begin to get to their feet here at the Coliseum.
Well, they just dribble it out. He decides to pull the trigger anyway.
And the Portland Trail Blazers have won their 4th game in a row with a new head coach, Rick Adelman, after losing the first 4 games after he took over. Our final score, the Portland Trail Blazers 129, the Philadelphia 76ers 121. We'll be back.